Well, I worked on those rudder pedals and the cables and got those lined up and that figured out, and I made an angle bracket to go on that upper baggage compartment floor into the forward baggage compartment here. And so the headliner for the baggage compartment, I needed something to go up against and to screw into. Cut it to fit in this space here and bent a 90 on it. It's 1.5 inches on each side. So there's tabs welded on here and here on this crossbar that I put nut zerts in, so I screwed it down to that. And then I put tie down hooks here. Those go through and they're nut plated onto the back side of that angle bracket. Anyway, I want to get the headliner made up for this baggage compartment. I want to make some attached brackets that will go on this former right here. Now, on the other airframe, the baggage compartment came up. It just had a panel that screwed in with sheet metal screws into this former right here, into this little U-channel. But I didn't like sheet metal screws screwing into that. I think I'm going to do like I did with those panels in the back and make some plates that hang down here and put nut plates in it. But before I put nut plates onto this panel, I want to go ahead and put the attach points in for the skylight. The skylight goes on here, and it's screwed in the back of the skylight. This is the back of the skylight, attaches here, and it screws into this panel. So if I go and put plates on there first for the headliner to attach, then it's going to be hard to put those anchors in for the screws for the skylight. Now, what the other airframe had on it was nut zerts or rivet nuts in here, but I don't like the idea of putting rivet nuts or nut zerts in this because you have to drill such a big hole for them to fit into, and this is just little, real thin, small channel. Oh, I've got some small, narrow number 6 nut plates. I'll put them on and rivet them in. So the forward one here, this is a lot bigger panel, a lot more robust panel. There's looks like a 3/4 inch tube, maybe that's a 7/8 inch tube that goes, it's probably 7/8 inch that goes across between the wing attach fittings, and then there's a bent angle a bracket onto that, so that one will be a little easier to get the anchors in. I've got the holes drilled for the nut plates where the skylight goes. I drilled the holes out for number 6 rivets and got them all cleaned up and everything. Then I put a little bit of Rust-Oleum paint on them. I'll let that dry for a little while now. So here on the back one, the existing airframe had one screw off the center and then one about 2.5–3 inches off from the outside edge here, because this cover that goes over the wing root the fairing has to go here, and it extends out so far. So then there was one in the middle, so there was 3 of them on each side. And then of course here in this center section, there's just one on each side. Those have a great big rubber washer on them. And then in the front here, where the windshield attaches to, I went ahead and divided that up a little bit more, and I put one each, an inch from the center line here, and then I put 2.5 inches from the outside edge up here, and then I put 2 of them in the field on that, so there's 4 on each side instead of 3. Got nut plates all clecoed in on the roof there for the skylight, well, and the windshield here. Now I use these small number 632 nut plates. They fit up inside the channel of this this narrow channel steel here. They'll fit up inside of there. I put those on all of these that go in the channel, and I started putting them on these, and I realized I could go ahead and use a regular nut plate on them. There's a 632 nut plate. This is a floating nut plate. The nut is caged in there, and it floats around, so it makes it a little easier to get screws started and stuff. They don't have to be quite dead on center and straight. It'll kind of self-aligning. Well, anyway, that's what I put. Had plenty of room for those here in the front. Well, I took one of my sets, the long set that I had, and I took it down and ground it down on the grinder and then polished it up on a little belt sander. So now this little groove, this set will fit inside of that channel. So these here that go in the middle, they won't be any problem getting these on them. On these ones farther back, I can do 4 of them, the 2 on either side of the center line, but the ones all the way up out here on the outer edge, I'll have to do with the rivet gun and a rivet set. So I might as well try one of these and see how it's going to work. These are full-size nut plates, so they fit in here. You can get a rivet, the squeezer on here okay. Especially these, they don't have to worry about hitting the cage on the nut plate. Okay, well there's one. This one, for some reason, the cleco didn't get on there. Okay. And this one I got too large of a rivet head. Got a full-size rivet. So we'll do those 2 again. That's a reduced size Tinnerman there. Nut plate there. So that's why it didn't work. Here's a regular nut plate here, and this is the one that come off there. Somehow I got it out of the wrong bin. That's a number 10, I think, too, or 8 anyway. But anyway, I had it clecoed in there, but when I riveted it in, the rivet didn't stick and it fell out. So tried it twice and it still didn't work. So yeah, I hit that one with my rivet set, my rivet setter, and crunched it over where the threads go in and boogered it up. So I had to take it out and put another one in there. I don't have anything that'll get in there to set those rivets, so I have to use a cherry rivet. I'd really rather use a regular rivet, but beggars can't be choosers sometimes. See how that works. Alright, that'll be okay. Hard on the old knuckles holding on to that. There's the piece of plexiglass. Got it held up there in place with spring clamps right now. Got the holes drilled on the 2 spots here that go through that center section with a couple screws in it to hold it down for now. and I've got it marked to cut. So I'll take that off of there and cut it in a bandsaw and dress the edges up. I've got the piece of plexiglass cut out now to shape to fit the opening here for the skylight, and I'm drilling the holes for the hold down screws. I originally thought about, well, I back drilled the screws here for the center. Those I could get into and back drill, but there's other ones I can't get in and back drill them. So I'd thought about pulling the craft paper coating, the protective coating off of this sheet of plexiglass, so I could see through it and spot the holes and drill them out. But I got this hole finder, rivet hole finder, and I decided to go ahead and try to use it. And this size will work. This pin on here will fit down into these number 6 screw holes, and then just take a little drill bit, drill those holes out, and then I'll take I think that's a number 30 drill. Once I get those holes piloted out with a number 30, then I'll take a number 27 and just gently drill them out to the number 6 screw, and then we'll put a number 6 screw in. Now those holes will have to be drilled out and larger, smoothed out, edged, and everything for they need to have an oversized hole for the plexiglass so that because the plexiglass expands and contracts with the heat, so you don't want a tight hole on there or you wind up cracking and breaking the plexiglass. But for now, for holding this down, getting the holes spotted, that'll work fine. And I'll just work my way from the top down. I've got finger clamps up here on the top to hold it, and I've got it squared up. The 2 screws in the middle holes there, and so then we'll just go ahead and work from the top down. Well, there's the skylight fitted up. Got all the holes drilled out in the right spot. Still going to need to enlarge those holes a little bit for expansion and contraction on there, but that gets it on. One of the lessons I learned here doing this is to start my holes from the inside here and work my way out instead of from the outside and work in. That way any extra material gets pushed down and out. So 8 screws on the front here, 2 in the middle, and 6 on the back, 3 on each side in the back, 4 on each side of the center line in the front. So I still need to dress up these edges a little bit, take the scratches out of them and stuff, and drill out those holes oversized for the screws. But that's fitted up there now. That's one more thing off the checklist here.